So first of all, how do we turn it on?
Okay.
How do we regulate the pressure? You know, the.
So the whole class, man. 101.
Okay. So we'll start at the front and we'll work our way back. How about that?
Yep.
So you got a piggle hook, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And you got safety chains, wiring loom for the lights. You got everything except reverse lights.
Yeah.
Breakaway.
Okay.
In case the trailer gets away,
Yes.
it applies the brakes.
Okay.
And it runs into a junction box inside the frame.
Right.
The front of the engine, the bonnet, you got a radiator cap here for water, and that's a peak antifreeze for the engine.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, the cap in there.
So on engine hours on service, you got a simple hour meter.
Okay.
At 250 engine hours, you're going to do the service.
250. Okay.
Yeah.
Hours. Okay.
So you got air here. You come around on this far side.
That's air filter right there.
Air filters here.
Okay.
Secondary fuel,
Fuel.
oil, main.
The main fuel.
Yep. And then you got your hydraulic fluid filter in here.
Okay.
And that's every 200 and
where that we can see that if it is a good level. I mean the hydraulic.
it goes on hours. So every 250 you dump them.
Oh, we had to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll keep your
it's emergency stop.
correct. They relocate them. And then in here is for the router for the brakes, and then that's where your tracker is too.
Okay.
Oh, that's where the trucker is. That's where the Apple thing.
And GPS
Correct.
thing.
I-
They
I
put them
was
inside
it.
there.
Mhm.
Correct. And then
Okay.
you have one here. You got one at the water box. E-stop, emergency stop.
Okay.
And then the third one's here in the main panel.
So 3 in total.
Okay, so if I am on the other side, I can push it on that side. If I'm here, I can push it there. And
Correct.
Push it here. Okay.
You got fuel here,
Okay.
and you do have a fuel gauge.
Okay.
That lets you know.
Yeah.
Good rule of thumb is, especially when you get more than one in a fleet.
Okay. Let's check out the fuel.
Correct. Main
Yeah.
power.
So do we have to turn it on in order to crank it up?
Correct.
So that way the fuel, the fluids to the engine, right? It gets to the engine.
No, because there's two different entities. You got the engine, and then you got the electronics to the pump. So that just turns the electronics on the pump on.
Okay. Okay.
To turn the engine on,
Yes.
and then now you hear the fuel pump going.
Okay. All right.
So you got your fuel, e-stops, there's a vent here line, and then of course you'll run that straight down. Right now we just run it to the side, but when you get to the job, you'd run it straight down.
Okay.
And that just vents the tank off.
Okay.
You got your starter where you check the oil, is on, just stick on the other side here, for the engine. Your dipstick.
Yes.
And then on the top here, through the hole, you would fill it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, it does have the cap up there.
Mm-hmm.
cap's up there. See it? They're up very top.
Oh, yes, right here. Right here, the blood. Yeah, that's put the oil in for the engine. Okay.
And then you got a adjustable foot. You can bring this down right, and then it'll adjust it a third stage.
Yeah,
down.
I like this. Like this is pretty strong.
Oh yeah, heavy duty, man.
Yeah.
Batteries in here,
Mm-hmm.
and then your main you can use fuse holder is in there too. So if you turn it on, you had no power minus the e-stop being pressed. The main relay's in there.
Oh, okay.
The fuse.
Alright.
Main drive pump,
Yeah.
secondary accumulator pump,
Yeah.
and then this is a two-phase Barnes pump, and that runs agitator and cooler.
Okay.
So that goes into a theory. You see how the engine runs through, the whole shaft runs through the straight.
Yeah.
So if you don't run this machine all the way out, the machine's only capable of half the speed. Well, then your cooling and cleaning is only half the speed.
Okay.
You must run the machine all the way out.
All the way out.
All the way
Always,
out.
always.
And then
At
you
full
would
throttle.
adjust it from the flow control,
Okay.
and that would slow the pistons down.
So this is gonna slow down the
Strokes.
Strokes.
the strokes, the piston. Yeah.
Per
okay.
minute, correct.
So
What this is a remote regulator. So that tells in percentage-wise what the pump to come on.
Yeah.
You screw it all the way in, it's 0%. Every turn is 10%, 10%, 10%.
Oh.
So the regulator, this is a remote regulator run
okay. Okay, but this always has to be.
Yeah.
for the engine.
Like a what, a 20 RPM?
2100.
2100
Okay.
RPM. Always.
So you have a water box, and that cools down your pistons.
pistons.
So there's an interface. The concrete gets sucked in, and the water's on the outside of the other side of the piston. They go
Yeah.
back and forth,
Right.
and the water cools the cylinder
Cool
down.
down the cylinder.
What about the water level?
Water level, you fill all the way up, and then it splashes out whatever it doesn't need.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you just
Drain
flip
it
over. Yep.
Yeah, drain it.
You just drain it out.
At the end of the job, you got to drain it and put more in there, kind of clean it out if it gets some sand or whatever.
Never leave water on that bottle box.
Okay, so that's a remote access for your hydraulic tank.
Okay.
So the tank, I'll get into that, but the tank is actually shaped like a V, and all the water is going to run to one end. Then once a week in your weekly inspection, you drain it off a little bit. Just a little bit.
When water settles into the bottom part
Yeah,
of
because the tank gets hot and cold, you get condensation.
Oh, yeah.
condensation, yeah. That's what it puts.
So kind of a once a week, open it up.
So,
Acuérdense, nunca dejar agua ahí cuando esté guardada la bomba. El agua, los pistones succionan el agua, los hinchan y luego se dañan los pistones al próximo trabajo.
Yeah.
Entonces solamente cuando esté trabajando la bomba,
At the end.
el nivel de agua por ahí hasta por aquí.
Yeah, o arriba y que splashe lo que va, pero sí por
Yeah.
aquí. So at the end of the job,
Yeah, not leaving the water on.
yeah, at the end of the job, just drain it.
yeah. Because
Okay.
the packing's cool at a different rate. You'll actually
Right.
suck water in.
Oh.
Then your next day it returns back to tank.
Mm.
So, okay, so you got a soft stroke here, and this is a handle, you see it. That's hard stroke and soft. What that does is, there's a multi-port sensor, an MPS manifold, which is at the front there. So you've got 6 slaves running one master. The master being S1 and S2. That MPS is a slave 1, or an NG6 valve. What that does is, when I put it in soft stroke, as that piston's coming back, there's a cushion of oil left behind, so when that piston comes all the way back, it doesn't slam into the head of it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what happens though is it slows your switchover down a little bit because of the inertia. So the soft stroke. So normally on a normal operating position is there, sticking straight out.
Okay.
And that's at soft stroke.
Normal operating position.
If you get into a bony mix and there's a lot of sand and rock, and you see the rock trying to struggle to shift over, you can whop it over and put it in hard stroke and finish that truck off. When you finish that truck off, you go back and put it in soft. Right. It'll run in hard, but not very long. It's going to start rattling apart and it'll end up blowing the end of the end cap off. I can probably show you. We look around here.
One blown. ¿Entendiste esa parte?
Sí.
Cuando el concreto está muy duro, muy rough y se ve que está haciendo mucha fuerza, él tiene esa opción de ponerle como un turbo a la máquina, pero ya no te va a operar mucho tiempo así, es solamente mientras terminas ese camión de concreto de mierda.
Y luego lo regresas y lo
Yeah.
tratar de no meter. Tratar de no usarlo. Que si el concreto viene malo.
Which one is that one? The 750?
Que si el concreto viene muy duro, muy feo.
You remember if it was a 500 or a 750? And the one inside is fully repaired, so that won't be
I
it.
guess we already got rid of it.
Might be. It was the green one, right? The green hopper. Yeah. That one is gone.
So it'll actually, you see where they're welded together, it'll actually blow it off.
Wow, okay.
Because from the head of that piston running.
Yeah.
So a normal operating position is straight out.
Okay. With soft concrete, good concrete.
Yeah,
hard,
you just-
if it is
That was too
thick or big rock.
right.
I'm not gonna pump that concrete.
So as we fire this up, you'll see the accumulator charge. Now it can draw from this much, but on a soft stroke, a multi-port sensor only sees what it needs and it shifts over. It doesn't use it. When you take it over on hard, it's going to use all of it. Boom, boom. You'll really see it drop. And the accumulator, that's just stored energy. So that little pump is running a bladder inside of a bottle, and that doubles. So you got 100 and 100 inside of an inert gas. It compresses on that bottle or the bladder, and then now you've got 200 to use. So it's cheap energy. The downfall is you put your hand in there, it might take it off. You get a false signal. It switch over by itself, unfortunately. So you always verify 0 before you ever work on anything, especially around these machines.
Okay.
When you take a hose off, you're going to verify 0.
Yeah.
Now when it's running, of course, you're going to be all the way up. If you're operating a hose, you're going to have main pressure and it's going to hold. Well, you got a plug. You put it in reverse, and you'll see the pressure go to 0.
Okay.
You can take a clamp off then.
Okay.
If this thing is around,
basically release the pressure, and it's gonna go back to 0, or
correct.
It's gonna come
Correct.
back.
If this thing's up around a 100, 150, and you open a clamp, it'll be the last clamp you open. It'll wrap that 5-inch clamp around your head.
¿Entiendes?
Like a halo.
Los gauges
I did that.
siempre están ahí. Para que
You
puedas
remember
mover.
now, right?
Lo tienes aquí a 150 y remueves el pinche clamp a volar.
Sí,
Porque
eso era lo que
tiene
yo te
mucha
decía que me
presión,
pasó.
entonces vas a tener que release the pressure con reversa.
Yeah.
Lo reverseas.
So the bottom one we release to open a clamp, and the top
Y
one
hasta que baje.
to work on the machine, you make sure that's at zero.
Yeah.
Correct.
Que bajen los dos hasta abajo, es más seguro.
And what you're hearing when it's running is a bleed off. That's an override. It's supposed to dump.
Okay.
If it doesn't, then you need to call us. There's something wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's a safety relief.
Okay.
But it's supposed to dump. It's made to dump. Now, if it
Okay.
stays up for what other reason,
Yeah.
you need to call us.
Okay. So this when you say every turn.
It's 10%.
So,
It's 10%.
so working on the bottom end, you see this other valve. Now, this is mainly for us.
Yeah.
So what'll happen is, on a concrete pump or on a S1 and S2, it must see A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. If I lose C, the machine doesn't know what to do next. So it holds pressure, and I can build pressure with that. Find out leaks, what side of the piston's bad, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada.
That's just for
So-
maintenance then. That labor.
Correct.
Right there.
But they are prone to somebody going by and flipping it over and walking off.
That has happened. That has happened.
And then you turn it on, it does one, hey Harold, there's something wrong with the pump.
Okay.
Check.
That's the quarter turn valve, yeah. So that loses
Okay.
B circuit or C circuit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the bottom. You got the drain here for the hydraulic tank. You know about that. It's shaped like a
Yes.
V once a week. You just drain a little bit off, just a little bit.
Yeah,
Until you see hydraulic. Yeah. That's full
yeah,
hydraulic.
So we'll get.
That's it.
Yeah.
To hit your I interrupt button, you're going to hit this button where it says start, and you see the light come on.
yeah.
Come on? Yeah?
Okay, the light come on.
Right, you got your horn. You got for your agitator, it came on. If you look in here, it came on. It's turning, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's
Yep.
ready with it.
So if I hit it again, it'll turn it off.
Okay. Okay. You do reverse right there.
For the agitator, if I turn it off, it turns it off, as you can see. I can turn it on, turn it off. From the remote.
And over here, if I want to turn it reverse, I have to change this one.
Manually.
And pressure right there.
Correct. Yep.
That.
So I got forward,
Yeah.
bring the pump on line forward. I turn it off. I go to reverse. I turn it off. Yeah.
Go forward again.
Forward.
Y este es otro pit stop, igualito a ese, que pararía la bomba y le das así, ya, no bomba más.
Stop pumping. Okay.
So we can refire it back up. I hold the pump, let it go, and hit it one more time. Your okay light will come on. Yeah. And the horn, agitator,
Yeah.
backing it forward.
Yeah. Okay. Stop.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead and try to use the remote,
Okay.
and you tell me what you think.
All right.
Entonces, vamos a hacer el primer.
Yeah. Dale, prende ahí.
Release these stops, you got the light. Release them. condensation run out.
What is it does say somewhere what where's the number of hydraulic? What is the
Okay, so Juan's going to send you a PDF format, and it'll give you, you know, what we're using. It's an AW46, an Anywhere 46.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
So you just fill it up to the black line here, and
Okay.
it gives you about 3 inches of expansion.
And that's your tolerance range right here.
Okay.
That one is basically low. You cannot run it below that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And there's a thermometer in there, and you see about where you are temperature-wise. The machine, after it gets to about 150 degrees Fahrenheit, it cuts the strokes in half. So you'll notice, even though you got it all the way out, you only get about 10 strokes a minute because you're overheating.
Yeah.
And it'll let you know overheating.
Yeah.
There's no problem.
Okay.
That E is an identifier mark that there's something wrong. So if I turn it on and I switch it over to local with no cord in there, see the E come on? So anything that you do wrong, the E's gonna come on. So then you'll have to call us, and then I'll have to walk you through why the E is on. Is it overheating? Is the fan bad?
Yeah,
It lets you know that something's wrong in the system.
Okay.
That stands for error, right?
Correct.
Es el indicador. Si prende este foco de la I, está indicando que
Hay un error.
algo.
Okay, so working up through the system, you got your throttle for the engine. This is the main shutoff for this gauge here.
Okay.
Over the years, you're going to find, especially in about 1 or 2 years, that gauge is going to go bad. Well, it'll start leaking oil because it'll bust out through the top and come out through the wheat valve. You can go ahead and shut her on down, and then you're fine for the job. The second gauge is you unscrew it, and it'll stop.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Flow control, it's like a water faucet. You come all the way in, it'll actually stop it. And then in percentage-wise, every
zero.
turn is going to be percentage-wise. Full turn 10, 20, 30, 40. You know what I mean? On and on and on. At the same point, when that thing comes all the way down.
¿Qué tan rápido ustedes quieren bombear?
Ya.
¿Qué tan rápido le están pidiendo el concreto?
Anyway,
Ahí
I'll
ustedes
loosen
van a
back
arreglar
up,
eso.
but at some point it's going to stop. You don't want to go anymore because it's going to come out in your hand and it's going to hit you in the chest with oil. So where it stops is where it stops. You see it, you feel it stop.
Right. Aquí se para. Si tú le sigues dando, se va a salir de acá y te va a botar a medio pecho.
El aceite.
Entonces,
And that thing breaks off, it's all the pump
all the
power.
way this way is gonna pump really fast.
Correct.
Okay.
Like a water
So
faucet.
we don't have to, we might gonna maybe 10, 20, maybe like
It depends.
30?
It depends on the
40?
job.
I usually go about 3 full turns out to prime, and then
Okay.
from there, I go a little bit more if
More.
the guy wants faster, slower, whatever.
como 3 para primear, para que empieces a pompear. Hoy lo tenemos así y ya después le puedes abrirle.
¿Te acordás
2, 3.
¿Te acordás del primer, de la caja que
Sí,
compraste?
sí.
Ok.
Sí, es para-
Eso
para-
ahorita les va a explicar cómo se utiliza y se echa en el hopper. Para vaciar ese hopper de primer, le vas a dar 3 vuelticas a esto, 2 vueltas y media, para que no sea ni tan rápido ni tan lento. O sea, tan lento que solamente primeas solamente la media parte de la manguera, ni tan rápido para que dispare y no primee bien la manguera, sino que lo haga a una velocidad como
Que vaya primeando la
y
manguera.
constante, que le vaya rayando todas las paredes a la
Okay, so then you have your agitator, forward and reverse.
Okay.
You use it in a forward gear. It's illustrated as white, and then this is reverse.
That's reverse.
Inside the
Yeah.
hopper.
Okay.
Center is neutral, center is off.
Correct.
This
Yeah.
Center's
neutral,
off. Yeah.
and this is forward.
Correct, and that's bringing the material into the cylinder.
Bringing the material into the cylinder, because esa vaina va a ser así y tu concreto va a ser impulsado hacia que se la trague los cosas. Cuando está echando un reversazo y necesita ayudarle a la máquina, es exactamente lo contrario. Cuando estés haciendo washouts, que necesitas el agua que le ayude a salir al concreto de los cilindros, lo utilizas así cuando estás haciendo los washouts. Y así para pararlo, porque si no necesitas revolver nada, entonces ahí está
Ya
parado.
lo paras de ahí y lo lavas bien adentro, le echas más agua, lo que sea. Y si
Entonces,
si quieres que escupa para atrás, le puedes dar reversa.
Exacto, así operando, bombeando concreto, así haciendo washouts.
Para que escupa todo el agua de adentro.
Para que le ayude la máquina.
Okay, so working on to the back, got an air breather, and that's for the hydraulic tank. And then that tells you percentage-wise how much your backflow. So as you get hotter, it'll go farther, and as it gets cooler, it'll retract.
Okay.
This would be, if you notice just by glance, that thing pegged all the way out, then I'd look and see if you're overheating. see if your cooling fan's on first, you know, I mean, that kind of thing.
Right.
So you just identify a mark.
Main,
And the rear here, you got your oil and your grease.
yeah.
There's going to be
Grease.
There's going to be 5 places, 6, 7 in the outlet bearing, and then 8 for the dummy bearing.
Okay.
Where is this one again? Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Entonces, 5, 6, 7, 8, and what was the other one?
There's only 8 of them.
Oh, 8. Then yeah, I count 8.
What are these?
Okay, so that's for a cold environment application. So if it got cold out, say you can't operate the machine, you know, when it's less than 30 degrees Fahrenheit, because the oil turns into syrup and you can't really suck it. So what you do is you turn the agitator on with the machine at idle, and then you start to choke it down,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
and then that'll build a lot of heat.
Okay.
About 10 minutes, you'll notice that you're about 100 degrees in.
Yeah.
You open it back up, and then the agitator will start moving.
The shop.
So that's just for cold winter application.
Para prender el motor.
Unless it will heat up.
Para calentarlo, sí.
Para calentar.
If you didn't have that, you would throw the lock and cock and throw that down, and machine at idle with about half speed on your flow control. You turn the pump on, and it would just pressure out. You build heat.
What is the temperature? You know, if it is too cold, if we preheat, what it has to be.
Well, on the gauge here, usually if it gets lower than 30 degrees Fahrenheit, you need to preheat.
Okay.
Ok, y este es temperatura de aceite hidráulico, ¿vale? Este es RPM del motor y siempre tiene que andar en 221 más o menos, antecito a la línea roja. Tu hour meter y el gauge del diésel. Si, por ejemplo, cualquiera de estos botones, ya se fue el nombre, ¿verdad? Si, por ejemplo, a ustedes se les queda un botón de esos hundido, el del otro lado, lo que sea, y ustedes intentan prender la máquina, no debería haberme dejado prender la máquina. Ah, sí. Uy. Se fue. That's grease. That's what.
Okay, so grease is a real important part. Your most important part.
But hold on just a second, because I was explaining that if you got an e-stop already on, it won't let you turn on the machine. But it let me, so I guess the only thing that is gonna prevent you is to run it.
To operate it.
Ok, gotcha. Entonces sí los va a dejar prender la máquina, pero la máquina no va a bombear si esto está hundido. Ella va a empezar a bombear si todos están por fuera. Si todos, y es facilito, no es sacarla así. Ella es solamente un clic hacia la derecha. Todos los tres son iguales.
So they've done that because they've opted for a pressure washer system that you can put on there, and if the motor stops, then you can't run the pressure washer anymore.
Correct.
So they left it on now.
Las nuevas solamente las nuevas hacen eso, las viejas cortan todo. Pero es bueno esto que tengan la posibilidad.
The agitator is going to stop, and it won't pump forward. Yeah, you'll know that the e-stop is pressed. Okay, so grease is a major part. You got the rubber boot here, and you can see where the grease is coming through the rubber boot.
Yes.
So all day long, that pump is holding concrete, and every time you pump, it's trying to go through the bearing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you're going to push now that grout inside the hopper. So you're going to do this at the end of the job, and then if you pump more than 50 yards, you're going to do it again.
Okay.
Yep. If you wait to go back to the shop to grease it, it'll be too late. The grout's going to get hard, and then you won't be able to grease.
Terminado de bombear y meterle grasa para que escupa, con lo que él nos decía, que escupa lo poco que se le mete.
Y también, si están haciendo muchas yardas, también hay que parar un rato.
Es cierto. Y le metes grasa.
15, 20, paran y grasa todo y vuelva y eche concreto. Ajá.
Lo que llega un camión, para que no se le meta el residuo del cemento y todo en los.
Y no vas a dejar concreto quieto en el hopper ni en el sistema. Cada 5 o 8 minutos estás bombeando un stroke para poder que haya movimiento en todo el sistema mientras esperas un camión. Si ya estás esperando mucho, no esperes más el camión, bombea todo lo que tenés en el hopper y hace el washout completo. Si te llaman y te dicen, vea, el camión lo va a despachar pero en 1 hora, porque antes no, usted bombee todo eso y haga el washout. Y eso se lo cobra al cliente.
Sí.
So greasing is an important part.
Yeah.
Half of our rework is because of grease related. Was the grease enough? So after 50 yards, when 50 leaves and 60 is backing up, you grease.
Okay.
At the end of the job, grease.
Grease. Okay.
So then you have your trap door here, and that drops all the material at the bottom.
Right.
Ok, como bombear.
Como-
Una demostración de cómo bombear.
Oh, they wanna see it pumping. They wanna see doing
Sure,
strokes and
sure.
all that.
So then you got the LED lights here, and then like I said, you got everything except reverse. Yeah. Now the outriggers here, they're not really applicable. If you have your truck is bigger than a 1500, you're in 25 or 3500.
Yeah,
range.
we're gonna use it 3500.
Yeah. So outriggers you don't have to
won't.
necessarily put
I
down.
won't, yeah.
Correct. So if you wanted to leave it on a job, you want to take a tire off. You jack the front down, set the rear outriggers, and then wind the front up. You gotta take the tension off the tires. You take the tire off,
Right.
and you just leave it on the job
Yeah,
that way.
we're gonna.
Mm-hmm.
We're never gonna leave it on the job.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Never leave it on hooked.
So
Never leave it on
So
hooked.
we taken some of the guesswork out from you. So if you look down here, and I'll put it in forward, and you see the light that comes on. See it?
Oh, on the
orange one.
solenoid.
Yep. You see it right there?
Oh, right there. Yeah, right here.
And there's one on the other side for reverse.
Okay.
If you look through there, you'll see the yellow one for reverse.
It's blinking.
Okay.
So that's the question I'm going to ask you. Here, I put it in forward, and it doesn't do anything. Okay, the system's so big, we need to split it through the middle. So I'm going to tell you turn it on. Is there light coming on? No. Well, then I know it's electrical. Yes, it's coming on. Well, then I know it's hydraulic. We go a little bit farther that way. So, and then same with the agitator outreach. If you look on here, see the
Yeah, I see the light.
see the yellow, and that cuts the outrigger or the agitator off.
Oh, okay.
So you got to leave it in forward, flip it on, and now it's going to move. If I take it off, it's going to stop.
Gonna stop.
Yep, and you'll be able to control this on your remote too.
So, oh, okay.
Because you're going to get a lot of times you're going to be away from it, and the driver's going to scream, "Ah!" You turn the pump off, you turn the agitator off. You come here and you can dig out the big piece of steel or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you just turn the pump off, by the time you go into the agitator, now it's rolled it up and it makes it a mess. So
Yeah,
you got to
right.
cut it off or whatever.
Right.
It gives you a
Right,
simple
we
way
can-
of turning
We
it
can
off.
control that with the control. Right?
Correct. Correct.
Which is
To the remote. This one is for your agitator.
okay. Este es para la palita para que
So-
para que le
So if I turn it on,
But you'll have to put it on in remote, right?
no.
Oh, okay.
So you see the yellow light come on?
Allá adentro.
Off.
Fíjate.
On,
Yeah.
off.
Okay.
So that'll control it.
Oh, okay. Por ejemplo, que si le cae allá ves que el concreto, si trae un cacho de varilla, dice él o algo, tienes que pararlo. Porque si no, el reguilito lo va a.
Le da una forma.
Lo va a dar una forma.
Yo he visto darle forma a los shovels, a la...
Yeah.
Uf,
So when I'm starting the system, you got your e-stop, and then this is for a dummy plug. If the remote had gone out, you can buy a line.
Yeah.
It's got a 100-foot cord. You can operate the
Oh,
machine
plug it in
from a
there.
cord.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Correct. So to turn the machine on, I'm going to turn main power on. I'm going to turn engine on. The OK light come on. Feel now it's hot. Everything will work now. Yep. You got your local and remote function. You've got your cooling fan. Down is manual, it's running. Up is automatic. On the temperature. I suggest you run all the time manual. All the way down. So it's always on. Here you got your off and on light. And you know what this is. The agitator. You don't have that. I'll turn it off. On. Off. On. Off. And then we got reverse. In reverse.
Let's not turn it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You got forward.
Yeah.
Reverse. Always got the opposite. You got your pump forward.
Yeah.
And you got pump reverse.
Okay.
Your indicator is the eye to make the system come on, and then the other way is the horn. And then this is the same button here. Push both buttons to start it. Get it clear. It's set.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright. So that's the horn. The horn on the next button up. And then you got main panel off. turns it off. You turn the engine off, you're done.
Oh, okay. So we can turn it on from the air?
Right, main power for the panel, and then main for the engine.
Okay.
Hit the I button, you indicate the panel is now hot. Without this saying okay, the panel won't be hot. So if I turn it off, and I try to go forward, reverse, it's not going to do anything. And then now go to a forward gear. You're pumping. Switch over here in a second. Okay, so you fire it up and you tell me what you think.
Pero siempre a full throttle, siempre.
Yeah, full throttle. Have to keep this
Go
one.
ahead, like
Yeah.
you're going to fire it up on a job site.
Yeah.
And let me see what you
Ok,
got.
solo lo que no entendí fue esto.
See what you got.
El menú de este es para el fan.
Para el fan, ok. Sí me va a estar en
Voy a
manual.
parar ese momentico.